A very good Tuesday evening to all our viewers. Well, this is Primetime News. We are coming to you live and direct this evening from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Joel Outschool. Let's start off today with a look at the headlines.
President orders the Ministry of Finance to present a report on the imports that could be restricted within a week. Prime Minister to visit India during the weekend. Major landslides in New Valigama. Local civil inconvenience. Joint oppositions contradicting views on presidential candidate.
Starting off the news with our top story in news from the President's diary. Now, with the aim to resolve prevailing economic issues in the country, President Maithripala Sirisena has requested the Finance Ministry to develop a report on non-essential items that can be restricted from importation.
According to a press release issued by the President's Media Division, the President made this request during the National Economic Council that convened today. The Economic Council outlined the economic crisis Sri Lanka is facing due to the increase of the dollar in the international market. According to the President's Media Division, the Economic Council focused on the need to encourage local production of non-essential items that have been temporarily restricted. The need to review temporary restrictions imposed on non-essential items and restrictions imposed to limit importation of polythene were key points discussed at today's forum. According to President's Media Division, Ministers Mangala Samaravira, Dr. Rajatha Senaratne, Dr. Sarath Amungama, Duminda Dissanayake, Mahinda Amaravira and Malik Samaravikrama were among the participants.
As mentioned in the headlines, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is scheduled to engage in a visit to India on the 19th and the 20th. The Hindu reported that the Premier will hold talks with his counterpart Narendra Modi.
The Hindu reports that from the Indian perspective, priority projects in the island include the Matala Airport near the China-controlled port in the southern Hambantota district, the Palali Airport in Jaffna, in the northern province, the Trincomalee oil tank farm in the East Container Terminal at the Colombo port, and a LNG plant in Keravalapitia, north of Colombo. It says despite bilateral discussions and joint agreements on development cooperation and commercial partnership, none of the projects have taken off the way it was envisaged. However, over the last few months, New Delhi and Colombo have put out conflicting messages on the Matala Airport, sparking speculation on whether India's interest to run it would actually materialize. Colombo-based officials who spoke to the Hindu newspaper on condition of anonymity said that the delay was due to political reasons in some cases and bureaucratic issues in others. The Hindu says that upcoming discussions may help accelerate the projects on both sides. What is the motive behind Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's visit to India? According to the Hindu report, agreements will be reached to accelerate the slow-paced India-aided projects on the island. What power does the Prime Minister have to reach into such agreements? He is neither the leader of the state nor the head of government, or indeed the Cabinet of Ministers. The Prime Minister holds the portfolio of Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs. He does not have the authority to reach into agreements for and on behalf of the country. Neither the citizens of this country, the President, nor the Cabinet of Ministers have vested the Prime Minister with the power of making such decisions. It is evident that Ranil Wickremesinghe changed the system on a number of occasions to fulfill his own requirements. Many of these situations where the system was changed by the Prime Minister ended up as corrupt activities. When the government came into power in 2015, the Prime Minister took over the central bank, which was under the Ministry of Finance. A few days later, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, in spite of disapproval from the President and the Cabinet of Ministers, appointed his close associate Arjuna Mahendran as the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The central bank bond scam took place following the appointment of the new governor after the system was changed by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister had issued instructions to change the system of issuing bonds to a completely auction-based system without consulting the Monetary Board of the Central Bank. This led to the first central bank bond scam in 2015 and the second bond scam in 2016. The Prime Minister also appointed a cabinet committee on economic management with a group of ministers and a few other close officials deviating from the due procedure. Large-scale projects were presented to the Cabinet of Ministers through this committee, and the current state of Sri Lankan Airlines is a good example of the fate the committee creates. The Sri Lanka-Singapore Free Trade, signed with the Prime Minister's friend Malik Samaravikrama, is also a good example of deviating from due procedure. Minister Malik Samaravikrama finally admitted that the general public were not fully aware of the Sri Lanka-Singapore Free Trade Agreement. What is the Prime Minister, who has taken decisions that are unhealthy to the country, now expecting to do with India?
What type of agreements will he sign now? All the agreements signed, especially with Solheim, ruined the country. You signed the Singapore Agreement and the people of this country didn't know. The Parliament didn't know. After everything happened, Malik Samaravikrama apologized. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, there is no point in apologizing after signing all the agreements because you will only be here for a few months. Prime Minister admitted in Parliament that it was he who instructed to move to another system with regard to the bond scam. He took up the responsibility. Then later he signed the Singapore Agreement. It was discussed in several platforms that this agreement has a negative impact on Sri Lanka. Thereafter, they hand over the Hambantota port to China, the Mattala airport to India. Then they go to India and say that they signed another agreement. What is the Prime Minister now trying to sell to India?
Well, now there's a difference of opinion on who the joint opposition's presidential candidate would be.
These are the politicians who are rallying around members of the Rajapaksa family. At an interview with the Hindu newspaper, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa said, quote, "My brother is certainly a contender," unquote. The former president said, "My son can't be a presidential candidate since they have now raised the minimum age to 35 years instead of 30, so he can't be considered in 2019. With this statement, a difference of opinion on who the JO's presidential candidate would be arose.
Let me tell you something. We want a democratic leader, and that democratic leader is President Mahinda Rajapaksa. I told you there is no world beyond that, so don't talk about the others. Not that I don't like him. They can be stakeholders of the government as well, but the head of state is none other than Mahinda Rajapaksa.
I do not know whether it is Welgama or anyone else. It does not matter to us. We have only one leader and we will only work for the candidate he presents us. Welgama is intimidated by Gotabaya. Why should we speak about the fears of Ranil Wickremesinghe? We ask Welgama, do not act according to how Ranil Wickremesinghe wants you to act.
නුතුරු අනාගතයේ පැවැත්වෙන ජනාධිපති වර්ණයේ ඉදිරිපත් වීම සඳහා කිසිම බාධාවක් වන්නේ නැහැ.
අපේ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ. ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාමයි කියන එක තමයි විශේෂයෙන් සඳහන් කරන්නේ.
මම විශ්වාස කරනවා චමල් රාජපක්ෂ මහතා හොඳම අපේක්ෂකයා විය හැකියි කියලා අපේ පැත්ත.
2020 මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමා ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් අපි අනිවාර්යෙන්ම ආණ්ඩුවක් බිහි කරනවා. අපේ නායකයා මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ.
If Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the candidate that Mahinda Rajapaksa is choosing, then we have to rally around him.
ජනතාව බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපති.
මම යෝජනා කරනවා නම් මම යෝජනා කරන්නේ බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයාව.
Now, a group representing potential investors for the implementation of the high-speed train project in Sri Lanka met with President Maithripala Sirisena today. It was reported that the train project, proposed to commence in the northwestern province, had to face several issues, and these issues were discussed today with the President.
We were inquired by the President on the problems faced to implement this project and other political issues and drawbacks. We discussed these issues comprehensively. The President inquired us on the obstructions made by political figures and whether we have any evidence to prove these allegations. We hope the President will conduct a further investigation into this matter in a justifiable way. We believe that we will be given the opportunity to implement this project island-wide.
ගැනීමට අවස්ථාව ලබා දී කියන එක තමයි අපේ මූලිකම අරමුණ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ දේ වෙයි කියන එක තමයි බලාපොරොත්තුව.
Now, minimum use of official privileges vested to a judge during the period of his tenure had made the former Chief Justice Padishah a much addressed topic within the society today.
The 45th Chief Justice Padishah retired from office on the 12th of this month after he had been appointed on the 2nd of March last year. It has been observed that during his tenure he has not obtained most of the privileges which he was entitled to during his career. Refusing to obtain tax-relieving vehicle permits and the land which is given to a Chief Justice are a few of those. Returning back advance allowances given for foreign tours to the state is a testimony of his efforts to sustain transparency of his conducts, and his efforts to prevail the judicial independence were special indeed.
We know that for proper functioning of the state authorities is essential for the future of the state and its benefits. That is what we have experienced recently. A controversial issue took place regarding the state officials who held positions in the public sector and politicians who were accused. Cases had been filed against most of them. For the benefit of the people and the country, the current system should be changed where they act irresponsibly. High-ranking officials should act responsibly and be an example to others. If we want to take the country to that standard, such situations should be taken as an example. Politicians can take these as good examples and learn. I think appointing such honest and efficient state officials who do not execute their personal agendas and yet obey to the law are not difficult to find in this country.
The Sri Lankan ambassador to Qatar, ASP Lianage, convened a media briefing today.
They might be accused for corruption. That doesn't matter. You come tomorrow to Qatar carrying 3 bags, I will carry 1, although I am the ambassador. I will welcome you. I did that. An ambassador of the state is an honorable character that represents a country. ASP Lianage, the ambassador to Qatar, was carrying heavy goods like a person who carries all sorts of heavy goods alone. He carried bags of Rohit Rajapaksa and Namal Rajapaksa's bags. These two are summoned before courts and cases are still being heard. These are not normal cases. These have been filed due to their crimes that were committed. So it is not the duty of an ambassador to carry those bags of these babies. It could have been alright if it was done by the individual Lianage. But this low-class act was done by the ambassador of Sri Lanka at a foreign state.
In some alarming news now, Deputy Minister of Law and Order said that the number of deaths as a result of road traffic accidents during the year thus far stands at 2,360.
The Deputy Minister noted that out of the 2,360 road accidents, 778 are due to motorbike accidents. 722 pedestrians have been victims of accidents. 18,491 people have died in the past 7 years due to road accidents. The Deputy Minister went on to note that steps should be taken to minimize the number of accidents. The IGP was also spoken about at the media briefing. We have not been informed regarding a resignation by the Inspector General of Police. He has the right to resign. What are the accusations he has? They are either a mistake in a voice cut or a statement made or a discussion carried out for us. It is a political matter. Let us think he is useless, let us think he is corrupted or that he is not good. Then what the joint opposition should be doing is not making statements to remove him. Keeping him there is advantageous to them. When there is a weak IGP and a weak police, the finger is pointed at the police. Through that, the government gets a bad reputation. They like it when there is no police or law and order in the country. I heard that information also from your media institution. Such proposals are not forwarded by the government. He has 2 years left in his tenure. He has a long time. He does not need to work as an ambassador. There is a lot of work to be done by the police. Such work should be carried out by them. We know that narcotics has been a major issue and it is growing even more. That needs to be stopped.
හැබැයි එතුමා කියනවා මෙහෙම කතාවක්. මට අස්වෙන්න කියලා නොකියුවා. ජනාධිපතිවරයාගේ සහ අග්‍රාමාත්‍යවරයාගේ ඉඟිවලින් මට තේරෙනවා මං කරන්න ඕන මොකක්ද කියලා.
I saw that through the media. I do not know whether it's true, so I cannot comment on that matter.
මට ඒ ගැන අදහස් දක්වන්න බෑ. ඇත්තටම පොලිස්පතිවරයා මේ වෙනකොට දේශපාලනයකට මම දන්නා තරමින්.
According to my knowledge, he is not engaged in politics, but I know he is involved in most of the community service matters.
වැඩසටහන් වල නියත.
In more news this evening, now in a media briefing held today, Verity Research revealed that of last year's government budget promises, only 8% have been kept.
Budget Promises Beyond Parliament is a pioneering online platform that tracks the government record in delivering its annual budget promises. In 2018, the platform is tracking 38 such promises with a total value of 149,350 million rupees. The platform states that the government is either not doing what it is saying or not saying what it is doing for promises amounting to 60,200 million rupees. It was stated that the majority 59% of the promises are lagging and the others are either undisclosed, neglected or broken. It added that there is a significant mismatch between what is actually said and what is actually done. The platform was told that the National Budget Department does not monitor physical progress and they were asked to find out the financial reports from the ministry by themselves. The research revealed that the government's willingness to share information remains at a low of 26% on the tracked promises.
Well, Vidya Nathaniel, the economic team leader of Verity Research, spoke to Newsfirst Chatrango Hapuarachi about the budget promises of the government. Well, you can watch the full interview at 9:30 p.m. on Best First in Focus. Moving on to more news this evening now, giving evidence before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry on irregularities at Sri Lankan Airlines, Sri Lankan Catering and Mihin Lanka today, Director of the Department of Public Enterprise, Champa Balasurya, revealed that the first board of directors for Mihin Lanka was appointed prior to cabinet approval upon instructions given by former Secretary to the President Lalit Wiratunga.
The first board of directors at Mihin Lanka was appointed on the 15th of December 2006, 1 week prior to receiving cabinet approval for the establishment of a state-owned airline upon instructions given by former Secretary to the President Lalit Wiratunga, who was not empowered to make such an authoritative decision. As per Section 78 of the former airline's Articles of Association, the power to appoint members to the board was vested in the Minister of Ports and Aviation. Abusing power and making decisions beyond his scope of authority, Lalit Wiratunga had instructed the appointment of Gotabaya Rajapaksa as chairman, Sajinvas Gunawardana as CEO, Roshan Gunatilaka, Surendra Edirivira, Chandana Liyanapathabendi, Samantha Samaratunga and former Presidential Secretariat himself, Lalit Wiratunga, as directors. However, it was brought to the attention that in 2008, Mihin Lanka's Articles of Association was amended and power vested in the Minister of Ports and Aviation to appoint board members was transferred to the Secretary to the Treasury, then Dr. P.B. Jayasundara. It was questioned during the Commission as to how such powers were vested in the Treasury when such decisions should be implemented under the purview of a Ministry of Aviation.
In related news now, Transparency International Sri Lanka has alerted the Commission of Inquiry into allegations of large-scale fraud and malpractice in Sri Lankan Airlines to alleged corruption surrounding the controversial procurement of Airbus A350 aircraft by the national carrier.
The German publication Der Spiegel has on repeated occasions flagged the allegations of bribery and corruption in the procurement of Airbus aircraft. In a letter to the Commission in August this year, TISL highlighted that the aircraft manufacturer Airbus and its subsidiaries are under investigation in several jurisdictions for allegedly paying bribes in order to win billions of dollars of contracts. TISL believes these investigations are of particular interest to the Sri Lankan people, given the fallout following the cancellation of Sri Lankan Airlines' planned purchase of Airbus A350 aircraft, which led to the state having to pay in excess of Rs 17 billion as cancellation costs.
You're watching Newsfirst Primetime News. Now, sessions at the Hanguranketha, Trincomalee and Kadawatha Pradesh Sabhas were heated today.
A protest was staged opposite the Hanguranketha Padishah Sabha today by a group of ministers from the JVP and SLPP. This was due to the chairman rejecting the proposal put forward by a JVP member to debate the fuel price formula.
The increase of fuel prices have affected these areas as well. Yes, this is a national problem. This issue is affecting the people of our area as well. I have forwarded a letter to you, sir. You have replied stating that the proposal to debate the fuel price formula is against the law and therefore declined. Your request is a problem faced by all Sri Lankans. Raising your voice will not resolve your issues. Will the increase of fuel not affect the people of Hanguranketa? The increase of fuel price not only affects the people of Hanguranketa but everyone across the island. We have a right to debate this in this council. We have no other option than to express our position.
To express opposition against the behavior of the Secretary of the Trincomalee and Kadawatha Pradesh Sabha, a group of 17 comprising the Deputy Chairman and members wore black armbands. The protest was due to the obstructions caused by the Pradesh Sabha Secretary when carrying out the activities of the Pradesh Sabha while the Chairman was overseas.
We are raising our voices together regardless of the political parties we represent. We want the current secretary to be removed from his position and be replaced with a new individual who has the knowledge of management.
A proposal against the sanctions of the secretary were presented to the council today. Except for one minister from the TNA, all members voted in favour. The secretary was not present when the council resumed after an interval of 30 minutes.
Now, General Secretary of the Ceylon Electricity Board Employees Union, Ranjan Jalal, said that there are irregularities in the Ceylon Electricity Board and its subsidiaries. He said the media organizations have now come together to defeat the authorities who are attempting to hide this from the citizens of this country.
There is corruption when purchasing power. These cannot be recognized because they are committed in the right way, but yet corruption and fraud take place. Cabinet approval was granted to bring in 75 transformers from a foreign nation. Also, when purchasing power line, posts and other equipments and installing posts, lot of corruption take place. We have evidences with us. If the government is threatening to hunt the media stations and to keep trade unions silent, we are glad to see the rule of law is pertaining. We are going to come together with media stations to present facts before courts. These public institutions are maintained by the people. Leaders who get appointed each 5 years cannot come and loot the money of the people. The whole electricity board is corrupt. It has spread over the island. If they challenge us before the law and block all the trade unions and media, I challenge that we will come together with media institutions.
Well, we would like to shift your attention to some weather-related news here at home. The National Building Research Organisation says the new Valigam area in Bogavanthalava, Balangoda and Muskelia Road is still under the threat of landslides.
A landslide pushed a part of a building into the Castle Reed Reservoir in the New Valigam area last evening. 23 people from 5 families living in the houses that were pushed into the water have been evacuated to safety.
My house is no more, it's destroyed.
We spent a huge amount of money to build these 5 houses. Everything is destroyed. Our correspondent said cracks can be seen up to 20 meters towards the mountain, and officers from the National Building Research Organisation inspected the site today. The support for this site is lost if a piece goes like this, and eventually there will be a landslide. This geographical situation prevails on either side. Other parts of the mountain can be unstable due to the current situation. There is less harm due to the soil deposits, but attention must be given if this situation continues to develop in the future. This is full of mud. If you go up, you can see how many have fallen. We are looking for quick measures to construct the road, and we have now begun a research on long-term steps too. We are hoping for a quick solution. This will take some time. We are trying our best to build the road beside this.
Now today is the second day of the Colombo Durga festival. The Durga celebration took place at the new Kadresan Hall in Bambalapitiya with the participation of a large number of devotees today. Durga means the cleansing of evil thoughts. Durga Puja celebrates the victory of the goddess Durga over the demon king Maheshwaran. Well, the festival is particularly popular in the Indian state of Bengal. This 10-day festival is celebrated in October, a day after the sighting of the new moon, and today is the second of this festival, which was celebrated at the new Qatar Hall in Colombo. The Durga festival sees the participation of both local and international devotees. This festival was organized for its 5th year by the Colombo Durgotsav Cultural Association. In sports now, former Sri Lankan cricket captain Sanath Jayasuriya has emphasized his integrity and transparency in response to being charged by the International Cricket Council's Anti-Corruption Unit.
Issuing a statement, Sanath Jayasuriya suggests strict legal advice prevents him from commenting fully before submitting his response to the ICC. In his release, Jayasuriya said that he is not in any position to release any comments at this moment, as he is first required to submit his response to the ACU within 14 days. Sanath Jayasuriya is charged by the ICC under Article 2.4.6, failure or refusal without compelling justification to cooperate with any investigation carried out by the ACU, including failure to provide accurately and completely any information and or documentation requested by the ACU as part of such investigation, and Article 2.4.7, obstructing or delaying any investigation that may be carried out by the ACU, including concealing, tampering with or destroying any documentation or other information that may be relevant to that investigation and or that may be evidence or may lead to the discovery of evidence of corrupt under the Anti-Corruption Code. Jayasuriya pointed out that the charges laid upon him do not contain any allegations pertaining to match fixing, pitch fixing or any other similar corrupt activity, and that they were charges that allege he has not been cooperative with the ACU's investigations only.
Well, veteran cricket writer Mahinda Vijay Singh says Sri Lanka's test status was delayed due to the absence of proper infrastructure facilities for the sport, despite boasting of a pool of talented sportsmen.
The book titled Reminiscing Cricket with Tilak, penned by journalist Tilak De Silva, was launched last evening. Veteran cricket writer Mahinda Vijay Singh made the following remarks.
That initial love for the game, a genuine love for the game, that was always burning in his heart. So that is why he went to this extent of going and meeting cricketers, getting characters, there some sort of...
He also commented on personalities that work towards uplifting the sport in Sri Lanka.
And there were 3 key people who were responsible for that. One was the president of the board was Gamini Disnayaka, so he could pull a lot of strings, right? Then Sobas was the inspirational coach. But there's another man. Very few people, I don't think anybody in this audience is aware. The other person was Rajamahendran from Maharajas. He did everything. He gave all the financial support and all the moral support. He's go around talking to them. Don't worry, you can do this, you can do that. And you know, and all the facilities, whatever the boys wanted, he provided. Because whatever it is, Gamini Disnayaka being a government minister, he can't take money from the treasury or something and give these boys, no. But Rajamahendran did all.
Well, with that, we bring to close Primetime News. Thank you very much for watching us. If you missed out any stories, log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. Take care. Good night.